Beneath a sky veiled in drifting ash and silent thunder, the path of cultivation grows ever more treacherous. In the previous chapters, Wang Lin walked the razor's edge between life and annihilation, his will unyielding as ancient forces stirred and enemies closed in from every shadow. Each step forward demanded a greater price. Each breath carried the weight of countless karmic threads tightening around his fate. Now... Renegade Immortal Chapter 637. Chapter 638, The Storm Deepens. Old grudges awaken, hidden powers reveal their fangs, and the line between hunter and hunted begins to blur. In this world where strength dictates destiny, one misstep could mean eternal oblivion. Will Wang Lin seize control of his fate, or will the heavens once again test the limits of his defiance? Let the tale unfold. In the vast river of time, there are moments so fleeting, yet they carve themselves into the soul like an immortal blade. Zhou Yi and Wang Lin, they were never bound by brotherhood, nor by years of companionship. And yet, in that distant fragment of the celestial realm, their paths crossed for but an instant that would never fade. Wang Lin remembered. He remembered a man, consumed by love so absolute that he chose to burn his own origin soul rather than release the woman he cherished. Such obsession did not stir the hearts of the world. Cultivators are cold, detached, calculating. But in that final moment, when Zhou Yi's origin soul ignited, his eyes were clear beyond reason, clear beyond madness. That clarity would shake even the most hardened heart. And before death claimed him, Zhou Yi entrusted Wang Lin with something priceless, the Ascendant Crystal. For the sake of a single simple request, guard her. Just those words, a trivial task to others. But to Zhou Yi, it was everything. Then, fate twisted cruelly. Zhou Yi did not pass on in peace. His existence was bound into the rain's celestial sword, becoming its spirit. Yet the lingering soul formed from his love, his will, his attachment. It vanished, gone. And in that instant, it was as though the entire world shattered before him. His heart died. The sword energy he wielded lost all vitality. No warmth, no purpose, no soul. Only emptiness remained. Using his own body as a vessel, he chased through the void, hunting Ling Tianhao, driven by a single vow to kill him. But even that vow carried no life. It was not hatred. It was not revenge. It was the final echo of a man who had already chosen death, because the only reason he had to live was gone. Wang Lin stood there silent. In his life, he had seen too much. The cultivation world was merciless. Behind every smile, a scheme. Behind every alliance, betrayal. Very few people ever earned a place in his memory. Situnan, Duntian, Zhou Yi. Back then, Wang Lin was nothing more than a soul formation junior. Insignificant, weak. But now, he had stepped into the ascendant stage. Time had changed him. Power had tempered him. But some things remained. He took a deep breath and stepped forward, into the gap. He knew the danger. He understood the cost. But there are moments in a man's life when retreat is no longer an option. When even knowing death awaits, he must still walk forward. Back then, for 13, he had stood alone against a demon general. Today, for Zhou Yi, even if the divine sense of Sword Saint Ling Tianhao stood in his way, he would not stop. The moment his foot crossed the threshold, a terrifying force erupted. Ling Tianhao's divine sense surged forward like a tyrannical storm. It condensed, sharpened, transformed into a sword that could pierce the heavens themselves, and it struck directly at Wang Lin. The soul flag at his side roared. 100 million soul fragments gathered in an instant, forming a massive shield. They collided, but Ling Tianhao's power was overwhelming. The shield shattered, the sword pierced through, continuing toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's gaze did not waver. He knew. He should stop. He should retreat. But if he turned back now, this chance would never come again. And what was a life lived in regret? Even if one lived for 10,000 years, without conviction, it would all be meaningless. His hesitation vanished. In its place, decisiveness. He stepped forward again. The sword intent closed in. Without a word, Wang Lin raised his hand. Golden symbols burst into existence around him, forming a radiant barrier. The sword struck. White lightning crackled across the golden insects woven into the symbols. His body trembled. But he did not stop. He stepped forward once more. More than half the insects stiffened, fell lifeless, their power extinguished. Wang Lin swept them away into his storage. Another step. This time, The divine sense intensified. Roars thundered through the chasm, echoing endlessly, merging into a single terrifying voice. As if the heavens themselves had decreed death upon all who dared enter, the soul flag shattered again. The attack slammed into the devil armor. In an instant, the devilish energy collapsed. A crushing force struck Wang Lin's body. It whispered death. It told him, if he continued, he would die. But Wang Lin was not a man ruled by fear. That feeling, he suppressed it. His eyes burned with even greater resolve, and then, the scattered devil, long suppressed for 100 years, was unleashed. From his forehead, a black devil soul burst forth. A single horn. Wild laughter. Eyes filled with confusion and hunger. It lunged, attempting to devour Ling Tianhao's power. At that moment, an endless torrent of devilish energy poured from the armor into the devil's soul. Its form began to solidify. It devoured the divine sense. But the power was too great. Chaos erupted within it. The domain of Ling Tianhao raged violently inside its body. The devil roared. Pain. Struggle. And then a flicker of clarity. Wang Lin sensed the instability. Without hesitation, he sent thread of his divine sense into the devil's soul, activating the imprint. Forged over a century, the devil was instantly pulled back into his body. A muffled chant echoed. Even the devil armor dissolved into black mist. Wang Lin stored it away and stepped forward again. This time, 100 feet in a single stride. But the third wave arrived. Even more terrifying. It roared like thunder, carrying faint traces of Ling Tianhao's voice. The soul flag was useless. The armor was gone. Only one defense remained. The life seals. 100,000 seals expanded violently, becoming 1 million. For a brief moment, they held. Then, they collapsed. Veins bulged across Wang Lin's face. He roared. From his storage, the god-slaying war chariot emerged, transforming into the thunder beast. It roared, charged forward, and collided with the divine sense. Lightning exploded across its body. But even it was pushed back. Wang Lin seized the moment. His life seals reformed. 1 million strong. His gaze turned cold. Defense alone would not be enough. If he wished to break through, he must attack. He stepped forward. The finger of death activated. Black light shot forth like arrows, tearing through space. They struck the divine sense. Again, another step. The demonic finger followed. Celestial energy surged within him. Thanks to the celestial liquid of the past, his power flowed endlessly. It transformed into pure devilish energy. 10 strikes in succession. Without pause, he summoned the underworld river. Spell after spell surged forth. All of it, crashing into Ling Tianhao's divine sense. Still, it was not enough. Wang Lin's eyes grew colder. The 1 million life seals transformed into slaughter energy. All but one, hidden deep within his origin soul. They fused into a single strand and surged forward. The tide abyss trembled. The very walls shook. Earth and stone peeled away, floating into the void. Then, everything collided. Spells, thunder, slaughter. The thunder beast roared one final time, transforming into a bolt of lightning and charging forward alongside Wang Lin's attack. Far above, at the entrance to the tide abyss, the ground quaked. Muffled explosions echoed endlessly. Deep within, Mirangzhuo paused. His expression changed. Even Xu Fei felt her heart tremble. Could it be Wang Lin? Fear replaced her earlier anger. She knew someone like him was not to be provoked. The shockwaves traveled deeper, through corridors, through darkness, until they reached the very bottom. There, a massive sword lay embedded in the wall. As the sound passed, it trembled, loosening ever so slightly. Far away, at the Fire Demon country's exit, Greed opened his eyes. They gleamed. Ling Tianhao, he muttered, but not fully. And another presence. He glanced at the trapped disciples, then closed his eyes again. Only he had noticed. And at that very moment, in the distant Dalu sword sect, Ling Tianhao himself opened his eyes. A Sikh buried beneath the abyss, a seal thought to be eternal. Yet tonight, fate itself dared to knock upon its gates. Far away, within the quiet stillness of seclusion, Ling Tianhao slowly opened his eyes. A deep, unfathomable light flickered within them. "The seal of the sword spirit," he murmured, his voice low, like distant thunder. That place, hidden beyond all ordinary perception, a prison forged with absolute certainty. How could anyone have found it? He remained silent for a moment, thoughts drifting like shadows. "No matter," he finally whispered, "as long as the sword spirit seeks death, the seal shall never be broken." His eyes gently closed once more, as if the matter no longer deserved attention. But within the depths of the tide abyss, A storm had already begun. Wang Lin stood amid violent winds that howled like ghosts. His robes snapped wildly behind him. His hair whipped into chaos. The air itself resisted him. He staggered back several steps, then slowly raised his head. Cold light filled his eyes. The clash just moments ago had shattered the third strand of Ling Tianho's divine sense. But the cost was brutal. The Thunder Beast, his powerful companion, had been torn apart. Fragments of its existence were forced to retreat into the god-slaying war chariot. Yet even so, a crack had been torn open, a fragile gap within Ling Tianho's divine will, but it was already closing, fading, vanishing. Wang Lin's blood surged violently within him. His meridians twisted and clogged under the strain. Celestial energy faltered, no longer flowing smoothly. Still, he did not pause. He did not heal. He did not hesitate. Instead, he stepped forward. And in that instant, he became a streak of light. Like a meteor tearing through the heavens, Wang Lin shot directly into the narrowing gap. A thunderous boom followed in his wake. Faster, fiercer, relentless. The gap was wider than he had imagined, and deep within it, a faint, familiar presence stirred Zhou Yi. But just as hope flickered, a voice descended. "Trespasser! Die!" The roar exploded directly within Wang Lin's mind. It wasn't sound, it was force. An overwhelming will that struck his soul like a hammer. Wang Lin's body trembled violently. He was forced backward, unable to resist. Around him, the very cliffs cracked and splintered. Countless fractures spread like spiderwebs across the stone. His origin soul quaked, weakened. He coughed. Blood spilled from his lips. His face turned deathly pale. "This Ling Tianho," he muttered, breath unsteady. Too terrifying. If even a fragment of divine sense left behind could unleash such power, then what of the man himself? Wang Lin inhaled deeply. His eyes sharpened. Without hesitation, he slapped his storage bag. A crystal-clear brush appeared in his hand. The celestial brush. With it, he drew swiftly, precisely. A golden symbol bloomed before him. The moment it appeared, darkness shattered, light filled the abyss. But Wang Lin did not stop. His hand moved again. One stroke, then another, then another. He continued, without pause. 7 strokes. 7. This was something he had never done before. When facing the insect swarm earlier, he had created many symbols, but each had been simple, single-stroke forms. This was different. Each stroke carried a piece of his soul. As the brush moved, Wang Lin could feel it. His origin soul splitting, dividing, becoming part of the symbol itself. 7 strokes, 7 fragments of his being. This was his limit. He knew it well. Back in the soul-refining tribe, he had tested this boundary countless times. An 8th stroke? Impossible. His soul could not divide further. 1 remained within his body. 7 now existed within the symbol, unless he abandoned his flesh entirely. There would never be an 8th. As the final stroke fell, all the celestial energy within him surged outward, like wild horses breaking free. It poured into the symbol. The 7 strokes fused, merged, transformed. A radiant circle emerged. Perfect, complete. It pulsed with immense power, as if containing the heavens themselves, like a sun descending into the abyss. Its golden light blazed so fiercely it pierced not only darkness, but the soul itself. This was a true celestial spell, forged by celestial energy, born from the celestial brush. Its brilliance tore through the cliffs like a divine blade. From outside the abyss, golden light erupted from the crack, spreading, expanding, illuminating the long-forgotten entrance of the tide abyss. A place untouched by light for countless ages, now burned with radiance. Within the crack, Wang Lin guided the symbol forward. It moved as if it were his own body. His will, its command. Ling Tianho's divine sense faltered under the assault. It began to fade, but suddenly, it stopped. A roar erupted. The divine sense surged once more, and took form. Ling Tianho appeared, clad in Taoist robes, his gaze tyrannical, unyielding. Step by step, he advanced, then he blurred, transformed into a streak of sword energy, sharp, absolute. It shot directly toward the symbol. The collision shook the world. Violent shockwaves exploded outward. The abyss trembled. Cliffs collapsed. Even distant lands within the water demon country quaked. Countless beings felt the tremor and feared. Wang Lin's body trembled violently. His face turned ghostly pale. He coughed. Once, twice, 6 times. Each mouthful of blood carried celestial energy. Each drop struck the ground like a blade, carving deep scars. The symbol shattered. 6 of the 7 soul fragments within it destroyed. Only 1 returned to Wang Lin. The rest, gone. The sword energy dimmed slightly, but its sharpness remained, unyielding. Yet, though the symbol collapsed, it had been real, a true celestial spell. Its remnants, countless golden specks, gathered, swirled, forming a cage around the sword energy. It wouldn't last long, just a moment. But a moment was enough. Wang Lin's eyes turned blood red, the intent to slaughter surged within him. There was no retreat, no turning back. He leaped forward, crossing over the trapped sword energy, and rushed deeper into the abyss. One step, and everything changed. Before him, a figure floated, a spirit body, purple, ethereal, Zhou Yi. His eyes were closed, his face filled with confusion. His entire body was engulfed in writhing purple energy, like living threads. Only one place remained untouched, between his brows. A flicker of golden light. That light was being consumed, slowly, relentlessly. Below him, a massive formation spread across the ground, 30 feet wide. From it, strands of purple gas rose continuously. They flowed into Zhou Yi's body, feeding the transformation. At the four corners of the formation, 4 treasured swords stood embedded in the earth. Their light seeped into the ground, merging with the formation itself. Above 3 of those swords hovered orbs of light, each the size of a fist, each radiating immense divine sense. Wang Lin's breath caught. Senior Zhou Yi, so many years had passed, yet here he was. Trapped, corroded. If that final golden light vanished, then Zhou Yi would never awaken again. This formation was no ordinary prison. It was crafted personally by Ling Tianhou, the celestial refining demon transformation formation. Its true power lay in those 4 swords, each one a projection of an origin soul sword, forged from entire worlds and strengthened further by Ling Tianhou's divine senses. As for the purple gas, it was no simple energy. It was demonic aura, born from the remnant soul of an ancient demon, the ancient demon of the water demon country. Long ago, Ling Tianhou had come here in secret, not for conquest, but for an agreement. This abyss lay within a hidden vein, a path buried deep underground, connected directly to the capital of the water demon country. Through this vein, demonic energy flowed endlessly. It fed the formation. The formation refined it, transformed it, and slowly, it invaded Zhou Yi's spirit. This was their deal. Ling Tianhou and the ancient demon seal Zhou Yi, and in return, the demon would gain a vessel, a body capable of enduring its power. The process was slow, but certain. Once the golden light disappeared, Zhou Yi would become nothing more than a shell, a vessel, a body for the ancient demon. Ling Tianhou had not planned this from the beginning, but after leaving the celestial realm, Zhou Yi had hunted him relentlessly, a sword spirit, born of the celestial blade, empowered by a mysterious woman in white, wielding terrifying spells. Ling Tianhou had already been wounded. Each clash deepened his disadvantage. Zhou Yi fought without regard for life, using the Rain Celestial Sword's life energy again and again. That sword, a supreme treasure of the celestial realm. Ling Tianhou possessed one, but he dared not use it, not in front of Zhou Yi, because the moment it appeared, it would no longer belong to him. Even worse, the celestial seal that injured him, its power was beyond comprehension. A single strike had left him wounded. Ling Tianhou knew that was no ordinary technique. It was something only a celestial emperor could wield. Thus, forced into a corner, he fled. He lured Zhou Yi here, to the demon spirit land, and sealed him. Completing his deal, 2 birds, 1 stone, or so he thought. But now, hundreds of years later, Wang Lin had arrived, and everything was beginning to change. Within the depths of the abyss, Wang Lin stood before Zhou Yi. The man's spirit body radiated a thick aura of death. A death not of the flesh, but of the heart. For long ago, when Tinger vanished, Zhou Yi's heart had already died, and what remained was only a fading soul struggling against oblivion.